there's a woman named Julie, one of our customers. She's up in Michigan, and she's creating a nonprofit called The Refuge, and it creates, all those services you need to really bring your family back together. And she is educated and experienced in creating what are called wraparound services. Well, I've learned that not everybody knows what a wraparound service is. They don't know what that is. And so the way that Julie explains it is pretty helpful, actually. She says, let's say that you want to get something to eat. So you get on the bus and you ride 30 minutes to Burger King and you get a burger, and you got to show your papers, you got to tell your story, you got to talk to somebody, and then you leave with your burger after you pay for it, and then you get on the bus, you ride 40 minutes to get French fries at McDonald's. And you got to do it again. You got to talk to someone, you got to show your papers, you got to pay, and then you got to get on another bus, sit at the bus stop, wait, get on another bus to go get a drink at KFC. That's another 30 minutes, and you go in there and you got to tell your story, and you got to tell them what's going on. You got to talk to a person, you got to pay, and you got to bring your own cup. You got to get your own cup. So that's really what it's like when you are seeking services, social services typically. And the people that are inside the social services organizations, or what they call the orgs, are usually pretty resistant to a suggestion that they aren't delivering holistic services. Because they'll say, for instance, I'll say, for instance, hey, the person that you just sold a burger to also wants to buy fries and a drink. And they go, well, that's not our problem to solve. We're Burger King. It's right there in the name. We do one thing well, which touches on the other reason why this exists, is that in our society, as a byproduct of industrialized specialization, people are incentivized to do one thing well, even if it creates atomized, siloed solutions, which forces the customer to jump through an infinite number of loops just to try to get their services taken care of. And this is not limited, by the way, to social services at all. In fact, there's a quote, a maxim, I can't remember what it's called, but it's basically that a lot of companies force their customers to learn their organizational chart in order to get the help they need. And if you've spent any time with tech support, you actually know that's true. Eventually, you have to learn how that company is structured in order to get the help you need. And so wraparound services orchestrates the sort of the holistic provision of those resources to help the people, get the things that they need without making them jump through a lot of hoops. And then people say, well, how does it pay for itself? Well, if you have any experience in the private sector, you probably already know the story to the answer to that question. Every time a person has to move from one silo to the next, they are spending resources, they're spending time, and that represents what in the industry is called opportunity cost. Opportunity cost can be realized as capital. So in the private sector, we call that a streamlining operations around a user experience, a customer experience, a CX, if you will. And if you build sort of a model for how a person gets their needs taken care of, you realize that the person doesn't want to get a burger and then fries and a drink and their own cup. They might want to actually have it at the same location. In fact, if you know anything about fast food restaurants, you know that they typically locate the fast food restaurants near one another, even though that seems ironic. Like, why would they do that? They're competitive. It's because people know that's where the fast food restaurants are. That's the part in town I go to. That's a place in town I go to for fast food. And it's like that with services as well. So I'm kind of touching on our vision for what we call the Halo communities, is that the place to put the Halo communities isn't in the cities, because it's just infinite red tape and there's not a lot of land. We are putting them outside the city in what's called exurbia, not urban, not suburban, just beyond that. That's where the economic diaspora lands. People are priced out of the city and they land out there, and there's not services out there. But the Halo communities can provide them. They can provide household scale economics, household scale social services in a holistic manner, which is what Julie's doing. And she doesn't have to be the one that does it all. She can orchestrate a collaboration with various organizations and, say, churches and the like. And then part of what pays for it is the realized opportunity cost that's trapped in the unnecessary inefficiency of siloed execution. And then, of course, the role I play is that I built the coordination fabric. We built that years ago. This is where people will say, Kent, why are you doing so many things? And I'd say, I'm not doing so many things. We have a coordination fabric that provides all the things they need so they can plug in and they can eliminate the opportunity cost. And the additional benefit is that our customers keep the fees and then they use it as a revenue generating opportunity. So the platform that provides the coordination fabric for wraparound services is literally a profit center. And that allows them to make themselves ready to receive additional funding because they can show they can do bigger bang for the buck. That's really the value prop here. But not everybody's going to get that if they don't know what wraparound services are, and they're not going to know what wraparound services are if they don't understand that the solution space is atomized and compartmentalized and siloed, which speaks to why cities spend hundreds of millions of dollars on a proliferation of siloed and atomized providers that force their shared customer to jump through a growing number of hoops. It's entropy, man. It's organizational entropy, and there's a remedy for it, and it's orchestrating low friction, high value wraparound services. That's how you do it.